Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of Inside the League. Today we're going to go over a few teamfights between Team Solo Mid and Samsung White in the Season 4 World Championship quarterfinals. As we get into the replay, we see Amazing finding Dandy in the bottom side of Samsung White's jungle. Both supports are en route from bottom lane to assist their teammate. TSM has a number advantage from Turtle and Dyrus, and they get first blood from their rotation. But things begin to go south for TSM when Looper joins the fight by flashing in and rooting Janna. Meanwhile, Imp does a ton of damage to the rest of TSM. Toward middle lane, Zed engages on Jace, who knocks him back and exhausts immediately to prevent damage. With the rest of TSM retreating, White is able to focus on Zed and saves Jace's life. Now, let's watch that replay again, this time a little slower. As Amazing engages on Dandy, we see Janna and Lucian coming from the bottom lane to help. The first mistake made here is exhausting the Elise, who repels for the majority of its duration. Twitch is going to join the fight soon, where that exhaust would have been much more useful. Notice here that TSM is grouped in a straight line. It's like a birthday present for Twitch and its spray and pray. Also note that Ryze is coming from the side, who has strong AoE damage as well. Looper flashes on Janna and routes to secure a 1-for-1 trade for White. We see Zed initiate on Jace, who exhausts within half a second of Zed coming out of his initial shadow of the ult. Zed decides to go back to his shadow to wait out the exhaust instead of autoing Jace. Jace follows him back towards middle, and Zed tries to auto attack, which would have killed Jace. However, Jace interrupts the auto mid-animation with a knockback. Zed decides to flash for the kill, where Pawn's reaction time saves him yet again. This gives the rest of Samsung White time to react to Zed and save Jace's life. Let's move on to the next replay, which takes place a little later on in the middle lane. Ow! Here we see Zed finding what seems to be Imp out of position. The shadow is Lucian's safety line. That's as far as Lucian should go. However, Lucian overextends and doesn't have the escape like Zed does to get back out, and he pays for the mistake with his life. Something to note here is the ult used in that trade. Both teams used pretty much every ult they had. However, with the stronger team fight coming from Samsung White, there shouldn't be a re-engage. With the single target CC of White, it makes it difficult for TSM to fight without an AD carry. Dyrus gets a really good Lulu cure off here that finishes off Dandy. However, too many members of TSM get caught by the CC of Samsung, who are able to clean up after the fight. Now, let's take a look at the last replay, which was the final nail in TSM's coffin against Samsung and inevitably caused them to lose this game. Here we see Samsung White taking TSM's base, while Lucian and Zed try to split push in middle and top. Samsung White is grouped as 5 with a strong tower taking team. Both of TSM's heavy wave clear not in base to defend, and it forces the rest of TSM to make plays that are too risky in desperate attempt to buy time for both Zed and Lucian. Samsung White uses their CC to single out members of TSM and slowly bleed them from resources before finally ending the game. Zed and Lucian finally make it back to base, but it's too late and nothing could be done to save this game from that split push call. This game wasn't unwinnable for TSM. It's hard to speculate the outcomes of teamfights as something were done differently. However, I strongly believe that if the exhaust had been used a little more effectively in the first teamfight, and Zed had been a little bit more aggressive instead of reactive, things have gone differently at the beginning of the game. If Lucian hadn't overextended to the teamfight in middle lane, the outcome of that fight would have been different as well. There's absolutely no way of telling how those changes would affect who won. However, it most definitely would have given TSM a greater chance against the Korean powerhouse. Thank you guys so much for watching the first video of not only this series, but well, pretty much that I've ever made. As you can tell, the video is a little raw without a strong intro or outro. I'm working on a few visuals that I can use to make the transitions in and out of the video a lot more fluid. This is a learning experience for me, and I'm really glad you guys could be here for the introduction to the series. If you guys have any comments or advice, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below, and I hope this can be something that is useful to both you guys and the esports scene in general. Again, thank you for being patient with me as I get better and can bring you guys more solid content.